will be placed. So who are the 19 individuals that we recognize as being buried here in the Barber Cemetery? There are 3 overlapping family groups in the cemetery: the Humphrey Barber family, the Palmer and Judah Barber Whitney group, and the Edmund Potter group. Humphrey Barber was the grandson of a Revolutionary War soldier, Joseph Barber, of whom more later. Humphrey was born in Warwick in western Massachusetts in 1806. According to an early Illinois historical encyclopedia, in 1832, at the age of 17 years, Humphrey moved with his family from Warwick to China Township, now Java Village, in the wilds of western New York, where his uncle Palmer Whitney had moved previously. There, Humphrey taught school, ran a tannery, and followed the trade of a carpenter. In 1824, at the age of 18 years, Humphrey married a native of China Township, Maria Potter. Humphrey was an early immigrant to McHenry County. He made a trip here in 1850, and in spite of a shipwreck and a week's delay on the way, he determined to bring his family to the area. Humphrey, wife Maria, and their 8 children arrived in Riley Township in 1851. They likely followed the path of earlier family immigrants and made their way from Buffalo, New York, to Chicago via the Great Lakes, and then arranged overland transportation from Chicago to McHenry County. Here in August 1851, Humphrey purchased a 40-acre tract of improved land from his brother-in-law, Almond Potter. He erected good buildings, improved and brought his land under cultivation, and added some 20 acres by purchase. Additionally, he served as Justice of the Peace for some time in Raleigh Township, a position he held previously for 15 years in Java Village. The one-room Java School, now in ruins, dating from the mid-1850s, was built on an acre of land donated by Humphrey Barber. The school was used until consolidation of schools in 1947. The Barber Cemetery sits on land Humphrey set aside for this purpose. The school and the cemetery are both shown in the 1862 plat map of the area. The first mention of the cemetery in McHenry County land records is in an 1878 quitclaim deed from the surviving children of Humphrey Barber to Humphrey's son Amory Barber for the 60-acre farm, with the following exception: 1/2 acre laid out and now used for a burying ground. Also, reserve a strip of land 1 rod in width for a road to said burying ground. A 1938 deed from the executor of Amory Barber to the children of Sister Rose Barber Stevens specifically mentions the exception of a road and a cemetery called the Humphrey Barber Cemetery. Maria Potter, Humphrey's wife, was born in 1815. She was the daughter of Edmund Potter, who is buried here in the Barber Cemetery, and Betsy Eddy, whose ancestry can be traced to the early days of the Plymouth colony in Massachusetts. Maria was the mother of 9 children, 8 of whom grew to adulthood. Humphrey died in 1874. Maria passed away in 1901. Both are buried in the family cemetery, along with 6 of their children and 1 grandson. These include Humphrey's son, Lucius W. Barber, marked by the stone over here and the flag. In the first weeks of the Civil War, as you heard earlier, Lucius enlisted in a local outfit later designated as Company D of the 15th Illinois Volunteer Infantry Regiment. During the 4 years, 5 months, and 27 days he wore the livery of Uncle Sam, he rose to the rank of sergeant. He fought at the Battle of Shiloh and Corinth, Mississippi, saw occupation duty in Memphis, Tennessee, took part in the siege of Vicksburg, Mississippi, and the fighting around Jackson. On 4 October 1864, Lucius's unit was captured in battle at Ackworth, Georgia, and he was imprisoned in the infamous Andersonville prison and at Millen. After being exchanged, Lucius rejoined his regiment for General Sherman's offensive through the Carolinas. He proudly participated in the May 1865 Grand Review in Washington, D.C. Lucius was discharged from the Army on 30 September 1865. He died in 1872 from consumption, now called tuberculosis, contracted during his incarceration in the Confederate prisons. Lucius kept a detailed account of his wartime experiences. His sister Rose published his memoirs in 1894. Time Life Books included this book in their collector's library for the Civil War. Here's a copy of it. Lucius is buried in the family cemetery. Humphrey's daughter, Lucinda Barber, married Civil War soldier William B. Mallory. William rose to the rank of sergeant in the 15th Illinois Voluntary Regiment, the same regiment as Lucius. All three of William's brothers served in the same regiment. A year after Cinda's death, in September 1868, William Mallory married Cinda's sister, Nivy Barber. Nivy died in 1882. Cinda and Nivy are both buried in the family cemetery plot, along with Nivy's young son, Lester B. Mallory, who died at the age of 4 in 1879. Humphrey's daughter, Elzina, died at age 17 and was laid to rest in the family cemetery. The youngest two children of Humphrey were the first and the last of Humphrey's children to be laid to rest in the cemetery. Son Humphrey Jr. died at age 1 year and was buried here in 1854. Son Amory died aged 85 and was buried in 1936, the last recorded burial in this cemetery. Palmer Whitney was the son of Revolutionary War soldier Corporal Joseph Whitney, who served in Colonel Samuel Ashby's regiment from Gilsum, New Hampshire in 1776. Palmer was born in Warwick, Massachusetts in 1779, just 3 years after the signing of the Declaration of Independence. At the age of 19, Palmer married Judah Barber, age 21. Judah was the daughter of Revolutionary War soldier Joseph Barber, who served as a private in Captain John Morgan's company, detached from militia of Hampshire and Worcester companies in Massachusetts. Palmer and Judah migrated to western New York about 1817 and were among the early settlers of China Township. Judah was the aunt of Humphrey Barber. Palmer and Judah either came west with the Humphrey Barber family or joined them shortly afterwards. They were certainly here by October 1851, when Palmer purchased county land from grandson Hiram Eddy. Son Lemuel Palmer Whitney purchased land in McHenry County in June 1851, and son Benjamin Franklin Whitney purchased land in the county in the late 1850s. Another son, Jarvis Whitney, resided in the area during this time. 4 other children, 3 sons and 1 daughter, also migrated to Illinois, settling in Carroll and Kane counties. Judah was a mother of 11 children, all of whom reached adulthood. Judah died in 1852 at age 75. This was probably about the time Humphrey set aside land for the burying ground, as hers was the first burial recorded in the family cemetery. Palmer was laid to rest here 2 years later in 1854. He was 74 years of age when he died. In addition to Palmer and Judah, 5 grandchildren were buried here as well. A granddaughter by son Jarvis Whitney, a granddaughter and a grandson by son Benjamin Franklin Whitney, and 2 grandsons by son Lemuel Palmer Whitney. Edmund Potter was born in Rhode Island in December 1787, a 5th generation descendant of American potter immigrant Robert Potter, who came to Massachusetts colony from England in 1634. Edmund was a soldier in the War of 1812 and fought at Lundy's Lane. The Battle of Lundy's Lane was Canada's Gettysburg. It was the bloodiest battle ever fought on